If you live in Gauteng and would like to paint your house or would like to paint your office, if you need waterproofing done in your home, or if you need pressure cleaning, that is maybe for the roof, maybe for your driveway, maybe for your deck, please contact www.groundfloorgroup.co.za. They do all of those services, painting of your home or your office, waterproofing, and then pressure cleaning as well. www.groundfloorgroup.co.za. I will drop the website link in the description below as well. Those of you that have been following the news will know that ex-President Thabo Mbeki and ex-President Jacob Zuma have been attacking the current president, Cyril Ramaphosa, on the Phala Phala farm scandal, where, according to Arthur Fraser, millions of dollars were found. Money laundering, kidnapping, and all those charges are currently underway and under investigation. To the suspension, which kind of failed, of Ubusisiwe Mkhwebane, who's the public protector. She's now been reinstated. Cyril Ramaphosa tried to get rid of her and failed. To the fact that he's doing business on the side, he still goes to auctions, still running his Ankole cattle business. Jacob Zuma has said that this is a form of corruption and treason. And according to the constitution, he should not be doing business on the side and should be focusing on running this country as his sole and main priority. Thabo Mbeki has said that if the investigations find that he has a case to answer to, we might see Cyril Ramaphosa being impeached, and this will interfere, or rather affect the elective conference, the national elective conference of the ANC in December. So it's very interesting. But listening to Thabo Mbeki and Jacob Zuma criticizing Cyril has reminded me of the fact that Black Africans and South Africans, of course, have lived in a history, or with a history, where we were ruled by kings. A king or a queen would rule until they die, or until they were conquered, or until they were killed, so to speak. So we're used to that. And that's why you still find people today that still want to Thabo Mbeki to rule, that still want to Jacob Zuma to rule, because we still have this mindset of, that was my favorite king. This was my favorite king. Why is he still not in power? We speak about electoral reform, and the Constitutional Court found that our election process is unconstitutional. This thing that you have to be part of a political party, to be in parliament, to get a seat, is unconstitutional. And they still haven't implemented this with the IEC, which they meant to have done already. Leading up to 2024, the national elections then, I don't think the reform will happen. But it has to happen. Fundamentally important for it to happen. What I want more than anything, I want the political party system to be dismantled and collapsed completely. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because currently you vote for a DA or an ANC or an EFF, and then they go and they take those votes and those seats, and then they go and they sit and they decide who will get them. That's how you get a Cyril Ramaphosa becoming president of the country. And I don't even know if the majority of ANC voters would have wanted him to be president. We don't even get to vote for a president in this country as they do in America, where they could vote for Donald Trump or Joe Biden. Here you vote for a political party. The political party decides within themselves who will get the seats, and then they decide, of course, in parliament, but that's like a bogus thing. They decide who will be president of the country. And I think that's nonsense. I think we need to move to a case where we can vote directly for individuals to get seats in parliament. And they shouldn't represent a political party. They should represent themselves. But of course, we're very far from that, because our people are politically illiterate. Our people are economically illiterate. Our people don't even understand how the law works. And one of my suggestions is that if you look at our radio stations, a lot of them, if you look at our TV channels, SABC, DSTV, if you look at social media, and if you look at print media, we can infiltrate those spaces and force those spaces in some way to ensure that they are teaching the population and the citizens how politics works, how the economy works, how the law works, so that young children from primary school level, high school level, kids in tertiary, understand how politics, how voting works, understands the economy, understands the difference between capitalism, socialism, communism, understands the law and our court systems, which I think are actually captured, and I think they don't ensure that we have justice, and they favor the rich and they favor the powerful as well. If we can do that, we can have a country that understands why we need electoral reform and why we should be voting for individuals. And not only that, what I would like seeing, I wish we could have it for political parties. I don't like that you're forced to vote for either an ANC or an IFP or a PAC, for example, I would like, if possible, currently as an interim, can we not have a percentage basis where you have 100% of votes, but then you can allocate percentage-wise which political parties you want to favor? So maybe I'll give 30% to the ANC, 20% to the DA, maybe 15% to the EFF, maybe 5% to the UDM, maybe 7% to the Patriotic Alliance, etc. And not just vote for one political party. And then they tally all of those up, and then they tell the parties, this is what percentage you got from all the people. And not be forced to vote for one political party. But I want the political parties gone. We can do this from an individual basis. We have 400 parliamentary seats. And you don't have to give South Africans like 400 people to vote for, which would be cool. They can vote for 5 or 10 or 50. But then have like a booklet of maybe like 1,000 candidates. And next to those candidates, you put their credentials, where they studied, what education they have, what qualifications they have. And then from there, put some of the work they've done. Which companies have they worked for and what were they doing there? Which businesses have they run? And how have they run those businesses? Have they been able to manage funding? Have they created jobs, and how many jobs have they created? Have they run NGOs and charity houses? And what work have they done for the communities out there? And in that way, people can see who they are voting for, what education and qualification they have, and then their track record. And then next to that, put their mandate. What do these people believe in? Do they believe in the death penalty? Do they believe in land expropriation without compensation? Do they think we need to reform the economy and maybe move from capitalism to socialism? Do they believe that we need to de-link from the global economy? Do they think we need to reform our legal systems? And maybe our legal systems need to be changed so that we know who we are voting for. What are their views on racial transformation? What are their views on the apartheid government and them being held accountable? What are their views on corruption? And then we get to vote for individuals that should be there. In that way, if you want people like Herman Mashaba, Musi Maimane, Lindiwe Mazibuko, if you want Chris Papas, if you want Gauteng McKenzie, if you want Vusi Thembekwayo, if you want Nhlanhla Lux, if you want Tsiki Mazwayo, if you want Nompendulo Mkhatshwa, if you want Bonang Matheba, if you want Somizi Mhlongo, whoever you want, Julius Malema, Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, Floyd Shibambo, etc., you can vote for those individuals because you believe they have done something great for this country. Even people like Robert Marawa, who you think could make a change or make a difference in our sports, arts and culture. Get those people in there and get them to sit in parliament and decide on what's best for the country because they have a track record and because the citizens want them there. That's if we really claim we want a democracy. I hate our constitution. I think it needs to be reworked because I do not think it represents the will of the people. I believe it represents the will of an elite, a political elite, also who are working in conjunction with an economic elite, the rich people, to say this is what we feel the country needs. But our people are politically illiterate. They don't know what these things really mean. It is built with a utopian society in mind and not the realities on the ground. And once people are politically illiterate, they won't be swayed by dizzy campaigning, streetwise twos, getting amapiano or kwaito house music to get them dancing and wearing nice dukes and t-shirts. They will know I'm voting for this person and these people because this is the work they've done. These are their credentials. And these people can now sit in parliament and decide on who's going to be president, who's going to be deputy, who are going to be the cabinet ministers, who are going to run this country and make a difference. I made a short video about this on TikTok, and I think it was an important video, short as it was, about the electoral reform that we need in this country. I don't like democracy. I think we should have an autocratic dictatorship state with a benevolent dictator that listens to ideas, that obviously is not killing people and muzzling them. A dictator who makes decisions. If they decide we're locking down the country, they don't need to ask. If they decide that we're now going to have an alliance with Japan, they don't need to ask. We just have to follow suit because this is the person in power. If we don't want them in power, of course, we'll have to overthrow them because we say this is not the person we want. That's what developmental states need. We saw it in Singapore as an example. We have something similar to that in China, something similar to that in Russia. People like Robert Mugabe, people like Muammar Gaddafi as examples. But we're not maybe ready for that. We still claim we want to be a democracy. If we are going to be a real democracy, let the people have a voice. Let the people choose the individuals that they want there. And let those people go and represent us in parliament and run this country based on merit. And then we must be able to hold them accountable. Rob Hersoff, some of the smart bees, some of the people that I've been working with and learning from in terms of politics, have created something called newsouthafrica.org. You can go to the website newsouthafrica.org. They are using blockchain technology so that politicians can be held to account because it will be transparent. South Africans don't know where our tax money goes. They don't know who are the biggest entrepreneurs in this country. They don't know who's responsible for education in the Western Cape, in Limpopo, in the Eastern Cape. They don't know who's running the healthcare departments in other spaces because we are not politically illiterate and because there isn't transparency. And that's how we get bullied, and that's how there's corruption. You should be able to go online and check immediately where certain money went, who was meant to do that job, and what percentage they got. Are they satisfactory? And if not, who should come in? And we have technology today. We don't even need to go and vote in ballots and mark across. We can use our phones. We can use technology. And we can get facial recognition. We can use fingerprints. And we can use maybe voice verification and other things. And be transparent on who we're voting for. I think that'll be a game changer. And we can lead the world in what type of political systems are needed for the world at large. Penuel the Black Pen, electoral reform is needed. And we need to collapse political parties. And we need to vote for individuals that are doing amazing, amazing work on the ground. Love you guys very much. Have a great day. Cheers.